What's up, guys? SuperPat98 here, and today I'm going to talk to you about the new Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story documentary that I just saw the other day at the movie theaters. I loved it. I think this is a great documentary, great movie. I think it teaches a valuable lesson about life, and it really shows how Christopher Reeve really was the perfect man to play Superman. He's everything you want the actor who played Superman to be. And I have a couple of notes because I do have 3 complaints, actually. As much as I loved the movie, there are a few things that I have some gripes with. And let me know if any of you guys noticed this, because I'm a massive fan of the original 4 Christopher Reeve Superman movies. I even love 3 and 4. And I actually think 4 is an underrated movie, by the way. I think 4 is a good movie. Yes, I might be the only one alive that thinks that, but anyway, we're going to get into it. So, my first complaint, spoilers, by the way, but this movie is a documentary about Chris's life and what he went through with his being handicapped, his illness, and how he inspired other people. And I like that the film is more about that than the Man of Steel, but Superman is mentioned a lot because it shows the parallels between his portrayal as the Man of Steel and the real man of real life. So anyway, my 3 complaints, despite the fact this is a great movie. First complaint, no David Letterman appearance. Christopher Reeve made a special appearance on David Letterman at late night in the early 2000s, and I think it was a year just before he passed away. It wasn't really awkward. It was a powerful interview, and it was special to see him on stage there in his chair talking to David Letterman with the machine making the noise. It was powerful, and I loved their discussion. And they showed a lot of the special footage of Christopher Reeve doing speeches at other places. So that was good. But no David Letterman appearance, no mention of it, no footage of it. Why? I don't understand. That was a memorable TV appearance. That should have been mentioned in this and shown. Oh, that's a missed opportunity, really. Especially to see that on television. Like, back in the day, especially, talk show hosts would have all these silly guests on. And here is Christopher Reeve, who we love. And he's an actor. But unfortunately, he got hurt. But he's still here. He's still here with us, and he's doing an interview with David Letterman, just like any other actor, any other celebrity. And it was a powerful episode of David Letterman, but it doesn't exist at all in this documentary. Second complaint is when they mentioned Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, they just dismissed it very quickly. And they said it was a disaster. And yes, I know it was a disaster. I still think it's a good movie, but they're really talking about certain aspects of the movie, maybe, and the production, for the most part, of the film, with the budget and everything. They're really not talking about what's in the film itself. So it's like the film itself is not a disaster. It's just the production of the film was a disaster. And the production of a film doesn't make the film. The film is what makes the film. Besides all the drama that goes on of making a movie, what's on the screen at the end of the day is the effing movie. And I think Superman 4, The Quest for Peace is a good movie. But that's really not the point. That's not why I'm bringing this up. I understand that they're talking about how bad Superman 4 was very quickly. It's fair. Most people think Superman 4 is trash, so that's okay. My problem was really that they didn't talk about how important the plot of Superman 4 was and how it paralleled Christopher Reeve in real life. Christopher Reeve became a humanitarian, especially after he got injured. And the work him and his wife did for the handicapped, disabled people was amazing. still is amazing with their children, and it was very inspiring. In the plot of Superman 4, Superman rids the world of all the nuclear weapons, and he hurls them at the sun and it explodes. And he talks at the United Nations, and it was a powerful scene. It was a powerful plot of the film. In fact, Christopher Reeve wrote that part of Superman 4. Christopher Reeve only agreed to be on board for Superman 4 if it was up to him what happens in the film. So that was a powerful humanitarian message in Superman 4. And the fact that he wanted to do that as Superman, it just reflects how he wanted to help people after he got hurt. Um, so why couldn't you just mention that the plot was good and how it reflected him in real life? That's a giant missed opportunity. Because you could have just said, oh, Superman 4, it was a poor film in many ways, but it had a good message. Why couldn't you just mention that and show that? They did show footage of Superman talking to the UN while Christopher Reeve was talking to the UN when he was a paraplegic, and they showed the parallels between them because when he spoke at the UN, that was like pretty much Superman talking to everybody. So that was cool they did that. I loved that. But why couldn't they just mention that was the plot of Superman 4 to rid the whole world of nuclear weapons? A giant missed opportunity. Could it be that people hate Superman 4 that much that they don't even remember the plot and how it ties into the man's real life? I don't understand. So that's two big missed opportunities. And here is one of the biggest missed opportunities, my third complaint. No mention of his scenes in Smallville. For all you Smallville fans out there, Christopher Reeve had like 2 or 3 appearances, or 3 or 4 appearances on episodes of Smallville. He was in his chair, you know, he's, you know, and he was talking to the Superman, the actor of Superman in Smallville, and he was a mentor to him in the show. And that was amazing in the early 2000s. That was just so cool to see because it's like Superman talking to Superman. And that was a powerful, inspirational thing because Christopher Reeve said inspirational things to the character of Superman in Smallville, the show. None of this is mentioned. No footage of Smallville is mentioned. Literally nothing. Why? Why? How come that's ignored? How come people don't remember this? I think that's ridiculous, and it would have been really powerful to show that in the film. I just think it's really stupid. I can't believe they didn't. I was waiting for it. I was just watching it. It's like they were going through the years. Okay, so now it's the early 2000s, right? So they're going to show the footage of him in Smallville, right? Because that made the show of Smallville better when Christopher Reeve appeared on it. And it was amazing. And all the fans of Smallville wanted to see more of him in Smallville. And unfortunately, a year or 2 later, he passed away, so we didn't get to have more episodes of Chris in Smallville. But he was there, but according to this documentary, didn't happen. So I don't understand why that frickin' is not mentioned or shown. They showed all this other footage, but not that. So those are my 3 big complaints. Other than these 3 things, this is a great documentary. I also really hate this trend of modern documentaries where they'll talk about someone's life and they'll always cut to different eras in the timeline of their life, and it'll be like all over the place, just like a giant puzzle. They'll talk about 1971, then they'll fast forward to 1994, then they'll go way back to 1962. And it's like, what are you doing? Talk about the person's life in order. In order. It's really annoying that they frickin' do that nowadays. And they did that in the Michael Jordan documentary, The Last Dance. Pissed me off so much. And they did it in this documentary too, the Superman documentary with Christopher Reeve. But for this film, I'll make an exception. I actually liked the fact that they did it in this film. Why? Because Christopher Reeve said in the documentary that when he got injured and he was in the hospital and he couldn't believe what happened, he said he had all these flashbacks of all these different eras of his life, but they were all out of sequence. So watching the film, it's like we all get to experience what he experienced in the hospital, looking at his life in different time periods and then going forward and going back, going forward and going back. So we, the audience, get to feel what he went through, what he felt. So that was powerful. It was like the film's way of a message of trying to get us to go through the journey with him. And that's why I like it that they did that in this documentary. It was different this time, but in the other ones, there's no excuse to do that. Because especially when you're paralyzed like that, you start to think about all the things you did before you were paralyzed as a person. I thought that was really cool they did that. This film is like the ultimate tribute to Christopher Reeve. It's the ultimate tribute to the Superman he was. And you can tell watching the movie that Warner Brothers really wishes that Christopher Reeve could still be alive today and they still could have made more Superman movies with him. You can tell that Warner Brothers really is honoring his legacy and what he brought to Warner Brothers. You can tell that they miss him, the company, the way this documentary is shot and filmed. Which brings me to my next point. And I think this is a really interesting, cool point of mine. Is this another Superman movie? For those of you who have seen the film, I mean, it feels that way to me because the film shows us how in real life he really was Superman. Plus, they had that footage in space of like the stone figure of him in space. And every time he kept getting hurt when he was paralyzed, they showed kryptonite appearing on his body, kryptonite crystals, and they were forming on his arms and legs and his back. And it kept growing and growing as time went on, as the film went on. So that was like Superman getting hurt and how he can deal with that pain. And if you saw the original Superman movies with Christopher Reeve, kryptonite was always what really got him down in those films. So in that essence, it kind of felt like we were watching another Superman movie. Is this another Superman movie? Can we count it? There was deleted scenes for Superman 4, and some fans realized that they were going to make Superman 5, and they were going to include a lot of the deleted scenes from Superman 4 and put them in Superman 5, which was canceled. But it would have been cool. I wish we would have gotten Superman 5. Then after 5, you don't have to do any more. But still, there was really cool scenes that they filmed that they didn't put in Superman 4. So, that being said, is this movie Superman 6 or Superman 5? You can almost count it as a Superman movie. Not just because it's inspirational, but because here we're seeing Superman Christopher Reeve at his weakest point. And that's how films are made with the main character. The more the movies progress, the character gets more damaged and finds ways to get inspired to build him or her self back up and defeat the evil. So, in that essence, is this another Superman movie? It's the way it was filmed and narrated. It felt like a Superman adventure. Just like the Superman 1 through 4, we got to go through the journey of him as Superman, going through all his adventures. And now we're feeling his pain on film of being hurt, not being able to walk anymore, and being paralyzed. So now he's going through another adventure, Superman, his injury. So we're going through this adventure with him being paralyzed. and how he copes with that and how he defeats it or tried his best to defeat it. Yes. So to me, I just think it's a really cool idea to think of this as like, is this is this the last gasp we can get? Another Superman movie? Because Christopher Reeve is no longer with us anymore. I still think they should remaster the deleted scenes for Superman 4 and create Superman 5 and put it on Blu ray. But they're not going to do that, I don't think, because Superman 4 is despised so much. I think I might do a video review of Superman 4 just completely. And by the way, I mean, I think Superman 4 is better than Superman 3. Come on, right? And I'm also on this journey, this kick. I'm trying to watch every Christopher Reeve movie that he ever made that weren't just the Supermans. Because he was a great actor. He was a terrific actor, Christopher Reeve, just in general. And he made all these other movies that weren't the Superman movies. They're all great movies. They're great. And I don't blame people back in the day for wanting him to be Superman again. People didn't want to see him do these other roles. Not yet. I don't blame people. You know, they talked about in the documentary how people didn't want to see that and he struggled to get money. And I know, but it wasn't the right time. And people don't want to see that when he's so iconic as Superman. Yes, he's that good as Superman that we want to see him be Superman more. I don't blame people for feeling that way at the time. I'm sorry. But his other films are fantastic. Well, anyway, that's my review of Super/Man, the Christopher Reeve story. Hopefully, you guys have seen it, and hopefully, this video is not too controversial. I did praise the film. I gave it 4 stars, or 4 bags of popcorn, on the On Cinema at the Cinema scale with Tim Heidecker and Greg Turkington. Christopher Reeve is amazing inspiration to people, and so is his wife and his family. And God bless all the people that are injured like that, because they go through a lot. And it was cool that they had Robin Williams in there, and they talked about their friendship and stuff. That was really awesome. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. My name is SuperPat98, and you will believe a man can fly when you watch Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. Take care.